What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to talk to you about a character that I've created for my D&D universe, the Embers of Divinity. So, if you don't have no idea what that is, I'm going to put the link at the end of this video so you guys can go check it out. But check out the playlist, Embers of Divinity. Essentially, it's my own universe that I've crafted for D&D, and it centers around basically gods. So each god of a certain pantheon has been given a planet to use as worship. The more humans upon that planet that worship these gods, the stronger their embers of divinity become. And their goal is to take over each and every other planet. So essentially, you have a battle of divine gods, and once they take over the planet, they begin to spread their religion, thus taking away the ember of the previous god and strengthening their own until they've achieved complete and utter omnipotence through having the flame of divinity. Besides having these gods be like the main focus of the D&D campaign, there are certain characters in each world that have been touched by the gods. They have a spark of divinity, and through the slayings of gods, or from, I don't want to spoil anything, from one option or the other, their spark can ignite into an ember, and then they can ultimately achieve the flame of divinity. But that's really hard and almost impossible to do. So the D&D party gets to slowly but surely, the whole grand spec of things tends to be revealed. But today I'm talking about a character that I previously talked about, Gore the God Butcher, which I will be changing his name to Gore the Devourer of Gods, or the God Eater Gore. Gore is heavily inspired by Gore the God Butcher from the Thor comics. He's probably my favorite villain in all of Thor. So I greatly recommend you to check out that video first before diving into this one, because it explains a lot of his backstory. This one is a lot more action orientated, and you get to see his escape from hell, so to speak. So without further ado, let's dive into part 2 on the backstory of Gore the God Eater. As Gore laid upon the earth, he felt an icy cold scythe press against his throat. His life now fading away, the last thing he saw was Zeus's smile, as finally the scythe severed his soul. Darkness was all he could see until he heard the wail of 1,000 other souls around him. Most of these were cries for forgiveness, but some were all agony. Gore was about to let himself get overtaken by the river Styx until he heard a voice cry out, "Help me, Father!" Gore's anger swelled up inside him as he remembered what he was fighting for. He could now stand upon the souls, and he could now see the edge of the river Styx. He fought against the current, but the massive amount of souls kept pushing him under, slowing his advance. After countless hours, Gore finally made it to the edge, and to his surprise, an arm was outstretched before him. The arm pulled him out of the river Styx. This was the arm of an undead warrior. This warrior had no name, and he couldn't speak. However, Gore seemed to understand his intentions. They together traverse the brimstone-laden underworld known as Hades. The warrior begins training Gore, using the massive weapons of the servants of Hades that he has struck down. Luckily, Gore's many years of being a punching bag for Zeus made him a formidable fighter. Wielding a greatsword and a giant mace, Gore and the unnamed warrior found another soul clad in armor. Together, these three warriors went to slay the demon blocking their path towards the land of the living, Charon, the fire demon. The battle ended with Charon devouring one of Gore's allies, but this was the perfect opportunity for him to strike, and with a thunderous blow from the frostbite-laden hammer, Charon fell. Seeing the demon fall before him, Gore felt an uncontrollable hunger swelling from within. He then began to consume the demon's flesh. This went on for a while, until he felt a warmth inside him, almost as if a spark had ignited something within his soul. Sickened at what he had seen, the unnamed warrior put aside his thoughts and feelings, as he knew fighting alongside Gore was his best chance at life. Finally, the two warriors were past the river Styx, and were confronted by Cerberus, the frozen wolf, upon the gates of Hades. With the fall of the guard dog, Gore once again feasted on its defeated carcass, blood and viscera coating Gore's body as his anger fueled his hunger. Then all of Hades shook, as a cloud of darkness descended and enveloped the warriors. The two warriors found themselves at a different location, but from the darkness out walked the physical manifestation of Hades himself. A woman wielding the frozen scythe Soul Reaper, and a bloated man wielding the Ember of Divinity upon a golden chalice.